All right, you ready?
We're ready.
Hello.
How are we doing
Welcome
today?
to episode 2 of the Alpha Nerds Guild podcast, Press Start. We want to begin with a moment of silence for the horrific events that happened 17 years ago today. Okay, I'm your host, George, and with me, my co-host, Mike. Mike,
How's it going?
what have you been playing and reading and watching since the last week?
Let's see here. As for reading, I actually picked up the book Blade Runner's based off of, which is Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? Playing, I'm always into Warframe, and I picked up The Messenger, which is an indie game that's kind of, basically a clone of Ninja Gaiden for the NES. That's pretty much it, though. How about you?
Right on. Since Friday, I've been playing nothing but Spider-Man on the PlayStation 4. Man, that game is a lot of fun, and we'll get to that shortly. Haven't had a chance to read anything. Most of my time has been up with that, other than press releases for video games. And I'm still watching Grant Chester, that BBC crime show with the Anglican priest and the cop. And it's all right. It's just something to keep me occupied. And I've got Deep Space Nine going, which I think I've said before. I've always got at least one Star Trek series being watched at a time. So, live long and prosper.
Nanu.
He was an avid gamer, by the way, Robin Williams.
Yep.
Just a soul. Named his daughter Zelda. Anyways, let's get right into our main topic. Spider-Man on the PlayStation 4. Came out last Friday. The game's awesome. It's been getting a lot of great reviews. And I'm about 70% of the way through it. And
wow.
It is a relatively short game. I think Insomniac said, like, the story itself, if you do just that, is about 20 hours. So maybe with everything involved, all the side quests, you're looking at maybe 35 hours, which is fine. I find a lot of times these single-player games kind of outlast their welcome, and they just get kind of stale after a while. So I'm okay with it being on the shorter side. I'd rather have 30 hours of good content than 50 hours where 25 of it was good and 25 of it was meh.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's all about quality over quantity. Have you seen any videos of it yet?
I have, actually. I've been watching our very own ABNNP, Chris. Been watching him play it a lot on his Twitch channel. And the combat, to me, is what really looks really fun.
It is. It reminds me a lot of the Arkham games or the Shadows of Mordor, Shadows of Middle-earth. Very similar in the style. The big difference, though, is that in those games, and it's been a while since I played them, but you don't really have like a one-hit finish on most characters. I know in the Arkham games it's a lot of pummeling a guy till he gets knocked out. And you can do that in Spider-Man as well. But his gadgets make it so you can like web a guy up against a wall with like the impact webbing. One shot and he's out of combat. There's a web grenade that does something similar, but it has an area of effect, so it can hit several enemies. And like I found sometimes with battles, you'll see where guys are coming out, in waves, and you'll see a door open and they're coming out. And if I've got my weapons ready, my gadgets ready, I'll plaster a couple into the wall right as soon as they get out, and just prevent them from ever even getting into the fight. Because sometimes when you're doing like the Fisk bases. So he's got construction sites that are full of his hired guns. They're all 6 waves, but each wave is like I think 10 to 12 guys. So at times you can be a little bit overwhelmed, and wave 2 doesn't necessarily start when wave 1's done. It starts when it's about, I don't know, maybe 3/4 or 90% done. So you could have parts of one wave still fighting you when you have the next wave coming out. So any little bit of help you can get is beneficial. And there's a shock blaster that shoots from the web blasters. It's pretty cool, and that can chain to other guys. And I actually had a theory, and I need to test it. I don't know if you heard the hubbub about the downgraded graphics of the water puddle that people were complaining about before it came out. And like I said, I need to test it, but I'm wondering if they did that because with a shock web, you could electrify the water and actually get too many enemies in it at once and making it too overpowered. So next time I play, I'm going to test that and see if that's the case. If that's the case, that makes sense. But I'm leaning more towards the notion that they Insomniac made those puddles smaller just for performance issues. But that's fine. It still is a great game, regardless of the size of the water puddles. What else with the combat? The gadgets are really good. I just picked up one that's a sonic blaster that knocks enemies back. And there's one, I think it's called Suspension Vortex, where it will lift. It's a circular AoE you put on the floor, and it'll lift guys up in the air. And you can then jump up and start doing aerial combat with them, or you could just use it to get 3 guys off your back for 15 seconds while you're fighting other guys. So it can be crowd control or help you knock them out. The trip mine is probably my favorite. It's a trip mine that shoots out a web, and when an enemy walks past it, it will plaster them against the nearest object. The cool thing about that is enemies don't notice it if you place it on them, and it comes from your web shooter. So you can shoot it on like the backside of an enemy, and he turns around because he's on guard. If the laser on it hits another enemy, it'll sandwich the 2 together. So you can take out 2 guys with one weapon. And actually, if you do that 5 times, you get a trophy called "Hug It Out." I think it is. And
that's funny.
It's pretty good. That's a really useful weapon. Unfortunately, you only get I think 2 of them right now. You can upgrade each of your gadgets to increase their effectiveness, their duration, or the carrying capacity. But I like that one a lot. The impact webbing is a lot of fun too, because that's the one. It looks like his normal web shooters, but it's a slower, bigger projectile, and that will drive enemies back and keep them from it will knock them back into a wall, sticking them to the wall. So the normal web shooter doesn't really have any knockback to it. So this one will knock them back quite a ways. So you can pin someone up against a car or something like that relatively easy. Throughout the city, there's random crime alerts that happen that you pick up on your radio. And you can go and do those. Some of them involve chasing down a car and jumping on it, pulling the guys out, and then stopping the car from hitting civilians. Some of them are like hostages, but those usually have waves too. And you have your typical Spider-Man banter. You're almost done with a wave, and like a moving truck will show up, and a bunch of guys jump out, and he'll say stuff like, "What is that? A clown car? How many of you guys were in there?" You got to love the typical Spider-Man humor. There's another good example of that is you explore the city and you take pictures of landmarks, and one of them is the Williamsburg Bridge connecting to Brooklyn. And when I was playing, he said something like, "Oh, a bridge to another place I can't afford to live in."
That's awesome.
I want to say there's 32 of those landmarks, including like Avengers Tower. But there's actually 50 hidden landmarks that I found a couple of, but those aren't marked on your map. Everything, all the open world objectives are indicated on the map. So if you want to know where to find all the landmarks or all the backpacks, as soon as you open up all the police radio towers in a part of town, they'll show you right where everything is. So that's a big improvement over games like, say, in Assassin's Creed. Remember, I think it was Assassin's Creed Unity. There was the French badges you had to collect, and there was an absurd amount of them, and they were hidden. So if you found them, you found them. But there was no easy way to find them all on the map. Spider-Man did away with that, so everything's easy to find. Traversal in this game is amazing. I've always liked the Spider-Man games for their ability to, swing through the streets of Manhattan. But I found in previous ones, you didn't have to be near a building to web sling. You could be out in the middle of nowhere and just shoot your webs out, and they're sticking to clouds. In this one, if you're not near a building, you can't web swing. So a lot of times to get around, you either have to run or you have to do like a web zip. So say you're in Central Park where there's a bunch of trees, you can web zip from one tree to the next and bound off of it. So you kind of like play leapfrog through an open area like that. Or you could use the parkour system, which is pretty cool. He does a lot of cool flips over stuff, and you don't really control the parkour. You just hold down, I think it's L1 as you're running. And I forget what button it is. But anyways, Spider-Man will automatically do the parkour moves, but there's a good variety of them.
Ruined my fun.
I'm sure, it's just one less thing you got to worry about, so I don't mind. With the web swinging, too, it's not like in the previous Spider-Man games where he just does one arm, then the other, and it's very generic. He'll do that from time to time, but say all the tall buildings are on your left, he'll only use his left arm to web swing. And when you release from a web, you can push in the left thumbstick and dive down to gain speed, and then web swing again, and you'll go faster. So you can really chase down things pretty quick if you use that method. And
wow.
You could also do tricks while you're airborne, just free falling, rotating, doing barrel rolls, backflips, and normally it doesn't really do anything for you in a game. But in this game, if you take a certain skill, which is I think one of the first skills you can unlock, it gives you additional XP, which it's not a lot, but when you start making a point to do it, you can level up faster than you normally would. I mean,
I like that.
2 XP per turn, but if you're going halfway across the island and you do 40 turns, that's 80 XP. So it adds up. Let's see here. What else do we want to talk about? The traversal. You could also run up buildings, and I find that a lot of fun, which you could do in previous ones. But when you get near the top, if you push X, he will do a web zip up to the corner of the building and bound off, so you can pick up some speed that way. And with some of the chase missions, you have to do stuff like that because whatever you're chasing is going up and around, and as opposed to just left and right. The movement when you're chasing things is very, very 3D. And how do I want to put it? It seems new and fresh compared to old Spider-Man games. Now, granted, the last open-world Spider-Man game I played was Web of Shadows. Maybe Amazing Spider-Man 2 was a little bit different, but yeah, this game's a lot of fun.
I haven't touched a Spider-Man game since, I think, PS2, so...
Right on. Was it Spider-Man 2?
I think it was.
Yeah, that's widely regarded as one of the better ones, especially for a movie tie-in game. This game's not tied into a movie, so that's awesome. What else is there? So the mission types, there's your normal story missions, some of which you have to play as Mary Jane, and you have to sneak around and take pictures of stuff, because she's a reporter for the Daily Bugle in this. As I mentioned, there are the Fisk construction sites, and you also have another gang called the Demons. They have businesses that you have to break into and clear out there. The Band of Thugs, those are also 6 waves, just like the Fisk ones. Those are really probably some of the best places to use the stealth. And the stealth system is, again, very similar to that of the Arkham games, where you can perch on something and string someone up by pushing the square button and attaching to a lamppost. One of my favorites is if you're on like a catwalk with a metal railing, you can swing someone up, and part of the animation is he takes them with the webs and he just smashes their head into the railing. You can hear the hollow clang, and they just go limp, and he webs them up and just sticks them to the hanging from the scaffolding.
Holy cow, man.
There's also another stealth move called a web strike takedown. It's for enemies that are too far away for you to do a perch takedown from. But that's basically where he just jumps off and uses his web to pull himself into a guy, knocking him out in one hit. Those are pretty good. And if you are good enough, you can get actually really close right up behind a guy, and he will do a stealth takedown where he does things like jump up and wrap both legs around their neck, flip them onto the ground, and just stick them with the webs all in one motion. And once a guy's webbed up against a surface, he's done. He's out of combat. He's as good as knocked out, which is cool. That's something new compared to other games that are similar to this, like your Batmans, your Arkham games, and your Shadows of Mordor, Shadows of Middle-earth. What other missions are there? There's challenges from the Taskmaster, and those are broken down into stealth challenges, combat challenges, bomb challenges where you have to go to several points throughout the city and find explosives, toss them up into the air, and encase them in webs so when they explode they don't hurt anyone. And those are on a timer. And then there's also drone challenges where you have to follow one of Taskmaster's drones throughout the city in a chase and go through certain spheres that are throughout their trajectory to gain points, and the more spheres you miss, the lower your score is.
Superman 64. Let's go through the rings.
Kind of, yeah. But it's a lot more creative than just... Yeah, exactly. Because some of them you have to, you'll be swinging up towards a building, and you'll get 1 point towards the upswing, and then the next one might be at like your 45-degree right-hand side, and you'll have to do a web zip to a building, and then do another web zip on top of a water tower on top of the building, and then bound off back the 45 degrees the other way to the next building. So they're really well thought out and designed, and they're a lot of fun, those challenges. I normally don't like chase missions like that, but I really enjoyed those. So yeah, I'm not too far into the story. I think I'm still Act 1. I've spent most of my time doing all the side quests and stuff, leveling up, unlocking suits. You unlock suits as you level up, and I haven't seen the symbiote suit yet. I don't know if it's in there because I haven't read any spoilers about the suits, but almost any suit you've seen in the Spider-Man universe is available.
I'd be down for Iron Spider. That'd be my thing.
Yeah, that one is the Iron Spider from the Avengers movie, not from the Civil War comic. Yeah. If it was the red and yellow one, I would definitely rock that. But
what the hell?
It's not. Most of the time, I've been rocking either the Scarlet Spider or right now I'm wearing the Spider-Man 2099. So. That's
I'm partial to the Ben Reilly Scarlet Spider.
Me too. Most of the suits unlock a special skill. For example, there's one, I forget which one it is, but when you use your focus, which is like your super meter, it will electrify your gauntlets. So when you punch guys, they get shocked. Most of them have different skills that they unlock, not all of them. The cool thing is, though, you can get a really good skill that you like and wear whatever suit you want with it. So it's not tied to, hey, you want this awesome skill, well, you got to wear the punk rock Spider-Man costume.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can swap them out, which is really cool because I can't stand when games make you run around and look like a fool just because the ability they have is so overpowered. So,
Let's get the pink unicorn Spider-Man in there.
yeah, the assless chap Spider-Man.
Oh my god.
So yeah, I'm really glad Insomniac did it that way, where once you unlock the suit, you get the ability and the appearance, and they're independent of each other. Yeah. So what questions you got for me?
I was curious more than anything. Have you seen the water glitch yet?
Oh, the boat people.
Yeah.
I read about that. I haven't gone out there because it's quite a ways off the coast, and again, you can't just web swing there, so you have to swim. And
the other one that cracked me up was there's another one where if you web swing out of bounds from one of the buildings, you can roll with Spider-Man doing those parkour moves you were talking about, and he'll just roll on top of the water. I was watching a video of that today. The other question, though, and a more serious question, is how is the voice acting?
It's really good. It's really good. It syncs up pretty well from what I've seen. The guy they've got for Peter Parker's exceptionally well. He does an exceptional job. The other one I really like is for Otto Octavius, Dr. Octopus, who Peter Parker actually works for in this story,
right?
In a lab, and I don't want to ruin too much, but he's got some stuff going on, and you can really you can get from his voice the frustration and the sadness that he's got.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's amazing. Just out of curiosity, did they get the which voice actor did they get for Otto Octavius?
I haven't looked into the cast yet.
Okay.
So I don't know.
You don't have to look it up now. I was wondering if you know off the top of your head.
Yeah, I don't.
So I think the final verdict on this though is badass. 10 out of 10 then, man.
Yeah, it's definitely.
I say, this is going to be a reason to get a PS4 then.
I actually got a PlayStation 4 again because of this. I had traded mine in a year and a half ago towards the Switch. And then I saw that the collector's edition bundle was coming out. I was like, all right, birthday present to myself. So it's a lot of fun. I have a feeling that I'm going to be replaying this game again and again. The DLC starts next month, and all 3 packs are going to be out this year. So October, November, December, and it's called The City That Never Sleeps. I was kind of hoping that one of them, at least, you'd be able to play as Miles Morales as Spider-Man, but I don't think that's going to be the case. Because I thought that would have been cool. But yeah, it's.
I'll bet you money that the symbiote is going to be one of the expansion packs. I'll bet you the symbiote saga, or at least something to do with Venom, will probably be one of the expansions.
You can go to the Avengers Tower, but I think the story is that the Avengers are away on a mission, so you don't actually see them. And Doctor Strange's house you can go to. Was it the Sanctum Sanctorum?
Yeah.
You can go there. I can't think of any other Marvel place. I haven't looked for the Fantastic Four Tower yet, but I probably should.
We probably don't want to ruin too much of it, though.
Yeah.
So what's up next?
Next, we have our Indie Games Spotlight. Why don't you tell us about the games you want to talk about?
Well, okay, so the first game I want to start with is Bloodstained. And if anybody hasn't seen this is the Castlevania spiritual successor by Igarashi himself, the guy that created Castlevania. I got to tell you guys, if you haven't seen it yet, there's a couple of videos that have been released by Igarashi that go into more detail, just like the graphics and the characters and what he wants to do with this project. Now, it's been pushed back twice. People are getting a little upset I personally don't mind waiting, and I'll tell you why. This is going to play like an HD revamped version of Curse of Darkness mixed with Symphony of the Night, and just it really tries to pull in all those really awesome elements of the Castlevania games that everybody liked, while trying to leave out some of the ones that didn't work too well, kind of like Portrait of Ruin and some of those games. I will tell you that the main protagonist is a female, and they have a spirit system in this game that is more or less a hybrid version of the already present spirit system that we have in Dawn of Sorrow, Curse of Darkness, stuff like that. So every time you kill an enemy, you have a chance of dropping soul. Well, now what happens is she's actually able to take in that essence and just really amplify it. So like each different amplification you have, each soul you have does something really awesome and different. I highly recommend going and checking out the videos, because this is a very paced game from what I've seen. You don't have the ability to just speed run through it in the first run. You have a definite walk speed, you have a definite run speed. There's time gates, there's obviously boss gates and skills that you have to acquire to get through it. I mean, it wouldn't be a Castlevania game if you didn't. The whole Metroidvania feel to it. The second game I was going to talk about is The Messenger. Mm-hmm. And The Messenger is like this absolute like new wave version of the original Ninja Gaiden games for the Nintendo Entertainment System. At first, I looked at it, and it's been on the shop for a little while, so it's on Steam if you guys want to check it out. I looked at it, and I'm like, oh man, this is a total ripoff. Don't like it, not going to mess with it. And then I kept looking at it, and it kept popping up in my feed, and I saw it on sale, and I was like, all right, why not? I picked it up, and there's a lot of good humor in this game, which kind of surprised me. The writing for one of the characters in the game who you have to continually go to upgrade your skills, the shopkeeper, he's a smartass. He'll sit there and he'll tell you, by the way, that was pretty stupid. Good job for you, hero. Great. Awesome. Try that again. I'll bet that'll work. The death system in this game is definitely unique as well. So it's not just reset the game and start from the beginning like the original Ninja Gaiden series. This is, you have this little demon that pops up, and he has the ability to manipulate time right before you die to take you back to the last save point. And every single time he does it, he makes fun of you and rips on you and just calls you a dumbass every single time. And to get rid of him, you actually have to collect more gems to pay him for his services. Which just adds insult to injury to make him go away. And
so he follows you around afterwards?
Yeah. Oh. So when you respawn, you've got this little red demon following you around. And he just sits there and he laughs at you and he writes something down on his notepad. And as soon as you collect enough gems, he goes away for the time being until you die again. In which case he makes his smart-ass comment and brings you back to the save point again.
Interesting. Now,
the cool thing I like is the jump system. Now, I don't know if you remember the original Ninja Gaiden series.
Vaguely.
Yeah, it was brutal. You if you made a jump, you committed to the distance and the force of that jump. If you didn't make it, you got hit. It would knock you back. It was incredibly frustrating. In this game, it's a little bit different. You have the ability to slightly control your jumps. And the cool thing is if you attack something mid-air, you get a little cloud under you. And you could do a double jump after the attack with that cloud. And you could chain these and chain them and chain them and chain them and chain them to get to areas normally not accessible in the game. The graphics, I would say, are very 8 to 10-bit. It's like that faux Nintendo feel. Mm-hmm. The controls are spot on, though. I use an Xbox controller for Windows. And I haven't had a single problem with it. Right on. I haven't had any inputs or anything. So how about you, man? You got any questions?
Yeah. Now with well, first let's go back to Bloodstained. Do you know, is that going to be a traditional Metroidvania, or is it going to be like level 1, level 2, level 3?
It's actually going to be a little more free range than the traditional Metroidvania. It is going to have the map layout of this huge area. It's going to have the ability to go and backtrack to certain areas and open things up with different skills and attacks. But it is going to be a little less linear than the last games have been. It's going to be, you actually have to think about, do I have the ability to get past this? So it's going to be a balance between the game's difficulty and your own ability to mitigate that.
Okay.
Which is nice in my view.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. What about with the Messenger? Is it procedurally generated, or is it a set tile set?
It is a set tile set. This game is exactly the same every time you play it.
Okay.
And the cool thing is I don't know if you know who he is, the Mexican runner. He's one of the famous speedrunners in the game community.
Okay.
He was playing the game, and he's actually already broken the game a couple times to find different spots where you can go out of bounds and different tactics that he's done. So it's one of those games that if you're in enjoyment of speedrunning, you like the speedrunning community, this would be a good game to pick up.
All right, cool. I might have to check them out. I know Messenger is on the Switch. Well, and I think Bloodstained Curse of the Moon is, but not Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. Is that what the second one's called?
Yeah, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night's going to be the full 3D.
Yep.
Or 2.5D fully HD game. Now, the indie game that is kind of like the prequel to the whole thing is the next part I'm going to talk about, because that kind of led the whole 8-bit guide led into that. There's currently one on Steam called Bloodstained Curse of the Moon.
Yep.
This is a traditional Castlevania 3-esque Nintendo game that Igarashi came out with as a teaser and a lead into Bloodstained, the full 2.5D HD Bloodstained game coming out. I have to tell you, I didn't want it at first. I was like, I feel like this is just kind of a slap in the face, like we're not getting the game we want. And then I finally broke down. I paid the cash for it, and I got into it. And I immediately felt like I was sitting in front of my dad's old tube television with a bowl of cereal in my lap playing Castlevania. Absolutely, 100% loved it.
Nice.
The characters, you start out with Zangetsu, who's like a half samurai, half Ronin kind of guy. He's got very short reach, but damaging attacks. The next guy you have is a mage, and he's old. He doesn't move very well, but he's got really powerful skills. The third person is where the tie-in comes from, which is the female character, and I'm actually trying to remember her name now. It escapes me. We'll skip it for now. But she is the traditional, almost like the Belmont character. She has the long reach whip. She's got more agile moves, and she can actually slide under small areas. And each character has a unique ability, And the fourth character, of course, is almost like the thief, pretty much, or not the thief, the vampire, Alucard. He throws the bats. He can turn into a bat. He can dash forward with the bat form, And despite the fact that the game is what's called semi-linear or broken linear, you get 3 or 4 different paths per stage that you can take depending on which character you have, and then it bottlenecks into a boss. And the bosses are incredibly memorable. My favorite one so far has been the Vault King. He uses the gold coins, and he's like this overpowering force above you, and it just attacks you from every round. And it was such a cool idea that Igarashi had, and that was really memorable to me.
Yeah, I've heard good things about that one. Paul, one of our writers, wrote a review for it on the PlayStation 4 that's up on the blogs. So
right, thank you for reminding me.
That's all right, yeah. Everyone should check that out. All right, is that it for your indie games?
Yeah, that's it for me, man. What do you got?
All right, I've got two. The first one is called Into the Breach, which is a real-time strategy mech versus kaiju game that was first available on Steam and got a bunch of great reviews. And last month it was announced on the Switch. We actually got a review code from that, so thank you for Subset Games for sending us the code. Daniel wrote the review for it for our blog. It's a 16-bit game. It's from what I understand, the variation on the mechs left a little bit to be desired. There could have been more variety. There was different types of mechs. I think he said there was. I know there's artillery and there was like fast attack. But he said it was. They could have used a little bit more variation. But he said overall it was a good game, well worth the price. The next one I have is called The Bridge, and The Bridge is available on PC, PS4, Xbox, Switch. I have it on the Switch. It's a MC Escher inspired puzzle game where you just play this guy that has to walk through different rooms of the house, and as you walk into a room, you have to get to the door on the other side, and you do so by rotating the map left and right and using physics to either move stuff out of your way or turn it so that he drops near the door and then turn it back so he can actually walk to the door. It's got a really nice art style. Again, I said it was MC Escher inspired. It's pencil drawn, and I believe one guy made the whole game.
Wow.
It's got a melancholy to it. It's very soothing, low stress. You know, some games that we play today, they can get your blood pressure rising and get your heart rate racing. This is not one of those games. I like it because I can, pop it on and play for 15 minutes. If I only got a very limited time to play a game and I don't want to get into something too involved, I can just pop on The Bridge for a couple minutes and I'm done.
Wow, that's actually a nice feature.
Yeah, and it's one of them games, if you keep your eye out for it, you can get it on sale. I think I got it for $3. I've seen it for, I think, even $1 before on Steam. But it's definitely worth checking out.
For those who don't know, by the way, MC Escher's the guy that does the melted clocks.
Yep. I actually have a MC Escher, what do you call that? Wood, a pressing right here in the room with me. So I'm a big fan of his work. Anyways, let's move on to the next topic. We've got upcoming games and video game news. So the first thing I want to talk about is the PUBG tournament that was last weekend. Big thanks to Josh Van Cleek for organizing it, and to Peter Balsam for doing such a fantastic job announcing it. The winners are Jeremy Martinez and Renee Ramirez. Congratulations. You guys did great. It was a good turnout. We're going to keep doing more tournaments. Keep your eye out for those. They're going to be posted on the group page. The next one will either be another PUBG one, or we're talking about doing an Overwatch one. So,
I hope it's Overwatch. You don't like Scrub G.
Hey, some people do, some people don't. It's all good. And Michael Van Oos, good job keeping score for the tournament. We appreciate it. For some news, there's Nintendo announced, for all you Pokemon fans out there, that they're going to have a limited edition bundle of the Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee that have each of the characters on the dock, and they have special Joy-Con, limited edition Joy-Con colors. I know a lot of Nintendo fans love to collect the unique colors of the controllers and whatnot, so if you're in the market for your first Switch or another one and you want those limited edition Joy-Con, there's your chance. I probably will be skipping that game just because I got so many other games coming up on my radar. And
wounded.
and I'm a big supporter of Nintendo. I buy almost all their first party exclusives, but I'm just going to hold off on that one. There's 631 games on sale on Steam, I read the other day. So, if you're looking for a new game on Steam, check out the sales. You should be able to find something.
Oh, man, no kidding.
Mega Man 11 has a demo out right now where you play the Bubble Man stage. I think it's Bounce Man. I think it's Bounce Man, actually. Sorry. That game comes out in a little less than a month on October 2nd, and it will retail for $30, which is awesome because, as we know, most AAA games, when they retail, are $60. So, if you like old school Mega Man, this is the one. Throwback to those. They've added some new enhancements where you can slow down time, and I think each of the bosses will give you 2 gear pieces. I don't know if you have to fight each boss twice to get them both, or you get them both after beating them once. But it looks like a lot of fun. That one I am getting day 1, so check out the demo now. Red Dead Redemption 2 comes out in a little over a month. A lot of people are hyped about that one. I think that's one I'm going to forego for at least the time being. I might pick it up in the spring, but it looks fantastic. It looks amazing. Rockstar, they don't put out bad products, so I'm sure it's going to be great. Don't forget about your games with gold and your PlayStation Plus free games this month. We've got Prison Architect available this month on Xbox. For Honor ends on the 15th, so you've got 4 more days to get For Honor for free. I know there's a lot of people in the guild that have been playing that on Xbox. Now that it's free, pick it up. Join the fun. Lego Star Wars 3 is free right now on Xbox, so those games are always fun. And Livelock will be free at the end of the month, along with the Sega Vintage Collection Monster World. For PlayStation Plus right now, free, you have Destiny 2. That's say what you will about it, but that's a legit AAA title that's free. God of War 3 Remastered. Another World, which is cross-buy with the PS3 and the Vita. The Cube Director's Cut, which is cross-buy with the PS3. Sparkle 2 for all you gem puzzle games fans out there. That's cross-buy with the Vita. And Foul Play, which is cross-buy with the Vita as well. And then I think you want to talk about the upcoming game. It's a few months out, the Capcom remaster.
Oh, buddy. Let me tell you. We have officially been told that Onimusha Warlords is going to be coming in January of 2019. The reason this is interesting is because people have been clamoring, absolutely screaming at Capcom to not only remaster the Onimusha series, but to make a new game already. We have Nioh right now, which is more in the Dark Souls vein, but it's got that feel to it. Samurai versus the demons and the bad people. The problem is it's not Onimusha. Onimusha came out and it exploded on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
To this day, me and my best friend Tim, we would sit there for days just searching every single corner of these games, trying to find stuff. And it's in the same vein up until Onimusha Dawn of Dreams-ish area. And more in the vein of like Resident Evil 2 meets the Japanese samurai. But the cool thing about the game was they would hide stuff and put things behind really tough enemy gates to upgrade your characters, and it became such a cool way to do the game because you could sit there with 2 people on the game at that point and just steamroll it and still not be able to get half of the stuff. Onimusha Dawn of Dreams especially, it had all the characters that you had to play through. You had to go through 100 levels of hell, quite literally, to get their ultimate weapon before you could get the best ending of the game. So the fact that they're remastering the first Onimusha, I think this is like dipping their toe in the puddle saying, okay, maybe this is the best time to do this. Maybe we should continue doing this. And if they do, please support it, because a completely remastered Onimusha series would be a godsend. The best part, though, it's not only on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, it will be hitting Steam as well. So
Nice.
PC people will have it, which is awesome.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, I've heard a lot of things about it. I never got the chance to play it, so I'll probably check it out when it comes out. All right. Any other news or upcoming games you want to talk about?
None that are family friendly.
Speaking of which, did you hear that Steam is going to have its first pornographic game soon?
What?
Yeah, I read that earlier. Anyhow, upcoming events. We've got, as usual, John's Nightly podcast. Or, no, I'm sorry, John's Nightly stream.
Cody Rhodes, yeah.
And we've also, like I said just a few minutes ago, keep an eye out for the posts about the upcoming tournaments. We're going to, figure out either it's PUBG or Overwatch. And the more people we get doing these, the more of them we're going to have going forward. Hopefully, December, January timeframe, we'll get a Smash Brothers one. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Woohoo! Yeah, buddy.
Be rocking that Simon Belmont. So that's it right now for the upcoming events. On a serious note, it is National Suicide Prevention Week. So if you're struggling, if you're having issues, if you need someone to talk to, just reach out. Put something in a group chat, or make a group post. Reach out to the peer support group. We're here for you. We're here to listen. We're here to talk. So don't keep it in. Just let it go.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys don't know, for everybody watching, if you don't know, our peer support group is second to none. We have some of the most amazing people right now working to listen to you and be there for you. So please, if you're hurt, if you're thinking about something bad, or you're in a bad place, come talk to us. That's what Alpha Nerds is for. We're family. We stick with each other, and we're here for you.
Yep. Well, I think that's all I got for tonight. Is there anything else you got?
I'm good. No, I'm good, man. I'm just a comic book nerd, and I don't have anything currently because I got to go pick up my orders.
Yeah, I think I might get back into, speaking of comic books, get back into Spider-Man. This game is motivating me. So
Spider-Man.
The last place I left off was when Aunt May got shot, and Mephisto agreed to bring her back from the dead if Peter and Mary Jane agreed to end their love, so their souls would permanently be tormented. So it's been close to a decade, but I think I might get back into Spider-Man. One of my friends was telling me that Marvel basically relaunched all their storylines a while back.
Yeah, so did DC. So
yeah, I knew about the
I don't know. I picked up the Scarlet Spider for a while, and it dragged, and I didn't like it. I was wanting to like it so much because it was Ben Reilly right after. I don't know if you read them, but the Captain America Hail Hydra series. I keep not Civil War, but I can't remember the name now. But he basically turned into a bad guy for a while. It was that whole comic book series of the Scarlet Spider happened right during and after that, and I got about 21, 22 episodes in, and it just they weren't doing anything with it, so I was like, forget it.
Yeah. Well, it's best to move on. So there's no point in keeping on with something that's just not doing it for you. So same goes with the video game. If you're playing a game and you just don't feel it, it's okay to move on. So, all right. Well, that's it for this week.